It's September 11th, 2012. Late evening in Benghazi, Libya. Armed militants launch an assault on the U.S. Special Mission compound. Ambassador Kris Stevens and Information Officer Sean Smith are inside. Security personnel respond and attempt to secure and evacuate. The attack intensifies, the compound is set on fire. Stevens and Smith become separated from the security team in the smoke and chaos. Surviving personnel fight their way out and move to a nearby CIA annex for reinforcements. Through the night, repeated assaults hit the annex. The security team, including Kris, Tanto, Paronto, and other former military operators, defend the position. Mortar rounds eventually strike the rooftop. Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty are killed in the final wave of attacks. 4 Americans die, multiple others are wounded. The firefight lasts for hours before evacuation at first light. The United States never came. Now, the conversation.
Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop arguing me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up on the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dog.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Excited to bring a special edition of the show this evening. Kris, Tanto, Paronto is in the house. I am just getting this shared with the Dumb Nation. We got to get everybody out. Please, if you could, Facebook is doing what they always do by throttling. So get it out there. This should have a really good night tonight with people coming by because Kris shared this, and we had a bunch of interest. So please make sure you guys share this, tag it. We're starting to see people log on right now. We are going to play that intro video one more time just so we can get as many people on as we can, and then we're going to get right into it. I want to show that just uno mas. So everyone who has not had a chance to see 13 hours, so they know what it's about. Just 2 minutes. Here it is, and then we are going to get started. It's September 11th, 2012. Late evening in Benghazi, Libya. Armed militants launch an assault on the U.S. Special Mission compound. Ambassador Kris Stevens and Information Officer Sean Smith are inside. Security personnel respond and attempt to secure and evacuate. The attack intensifies, the compound is set on fire. Stevens and Smith become separated from the security team in the smoke and chaos. Surviving personnel fight their way out and move to a nearby CIA annex for reinforcements. Through the night, repeated assaults hit the annex. The security team, including Kris, Tanto, Paronto, and other former military operators, defend the position. Mortar rounds eventually strike the rooftop. Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty are killed in the final wave of attacks. 4 Americans die, multiple others are wounded. The firefight lasts for hours before evacuation at first light. The United States never came. Now, the conversation. Really excited for this. We did the evening of that made this possible for this set. And we haven't had Kris on, and Kris and I have stayed in contact over this time and talked back and forth. But man, I consider him one hell of a good friend. And when it comes to just at least being there whenever I needed him for anything, he's filled that role. But the exciting thing for me is I had a chance to interview Eli Crane at one point, who I have a lot of respect for, and state legislature, Arizona District 1, SEAL Team 3. And I thought, hey, that's going to be the ecliptic. I'm pretty excited about that. I'll go ahead and take that to my grave. But the funny thing, Kris, is I never told you, is that you are one of the people that I wanted to meet for at least 5 years. And then when I saw you on Sean Ryan, it really solidified. 5 hours, my God. So, but it was an amazing show. But I went through purposely and went through about 25 hours of interviews that you've done.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to bring an interview that you haven't done yet, which is, I think you're ready for it. And based upon a conversation that we had yesterday, I'm like, I'm rewriting it. Threw everything away. I want to start fresh. So the first thing I wanted to say is we've heard all of the stuff about politics. We've heard Benghazi. We know what it's about. Tonight, I want to focus on not a cable news segment, not religion. You've done that. You've done what it felt like on top of that roof. And yes, we might have some questions, but I want to focus on the man, who you were, who you are, and who you need to be and want to be going forward. So I want to introduce you to the Don't Unfriend Me Nation crowd, and welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, thank you. Hey, and my dog's upstairs. I got a Doberman. She don't like nobody. So somebody's out there and she's going to eat them. And that's what she's trained to do. At least that's what he taught her to do. So right. Forgive me, but she's doing her job upstairs, taking care of business. But yeah, no, thanks, man. Thanks for the intro. And I still look at that, and that was the sizzle reel or the first trailer that they made for the movie. And they just, every time I see the trailers, or even some of and you can go on YouTube and see some of the small stuff they did with me, Oz, and Tig, and with me and Pablo, or the guys doppelgangers. They just did a great job. I look at it, and I know I'm a little biased, of course, but I look at it like, man, they really did a good job. And the actors, remembering Krasinski, and again, Pablo and I are still friends. Pablo and I are still friends to this day. Great guy. He's just a monster. I mean, he's a lot bigger than me. If you've seen, you guys know that. But it's just how well they did it and took it seriously, and it withstood the DEI. Well, I don't say the DEIs, but the cancel. When all that was going on, it withstood that. It was trying to get canceled, and it's still out there, and you can still see it on Pluto and Tubi and all the paid streaming services too. And that says a lot, but also says, we got lucky having Michael Bay as a director, because Michael Bay's movies, they never die. They never
No,
will
no, no.
never go away.
And there weren't. It wasn't over the top explosions. There
No,
were a few, but oh, that's one thing he's known for. But it was tasteful. It was well done, and you know they casted it really, really well.
But at the time, we were a little worried. We were like, "What, Krasinski? Are you sure?"
Was that the right choice or what?
Yeah, now Pablo I knew was, because I've watched him in The Wire. I watched him. I did like Orange Is the New Black in the first season. I loved watching his creepy porn stash guard character. I was like, yeah, that's a little bit of me in there. I'm not sadistic like that. There's a little bit of Tanto in there. And then when we met, it was, yeah, this is the right guy. This is spot on the right guy. But Krasinski was the right guy. Him and Jack are, I know none of you get to see what Jack looks like still. He does exist, guys. He's for real.
Yeah.
His wife is completely against him coming out and you seeing him. But if you put those two together, they look pretty much alike. And he is the boy next door guy. He is. Badass SEAL. That's the boy next door. So they did. They really nailed it, and they really nailed the scenery and the set, because making it Malta and Morocco. The annex that we found in Malta is almost damn near identical to the annex that we had in Benghazi. And it's just amazing.
I was watching the behind the scenes, and you guys were talking about that, and like, wow, it kind of feels like we're there, and it was a little cathartic and also just a little bit strange at the same time to be there. So like you came up through the Ranger Battalion, right? So real standards, real deployments, serious shit, right? I came up.
It was during the time frame though. No, I was in the 90s, and then I left in 2001 and went to 19 Special Forces Group. During that time frame though, for those guys, a lot of you, I never deployed and went overseas with the Army. I joined and I had I had Crohn's disease in 2003. I had it was, I mean, things, to be quite honest, things were going fantastic in my life. I had made a mistake my first time in the 90s. And for those out there, you can read about the Ranger Way. This is not like this is new news.
Which is a great book, by the way, The Ranger Way. And then we got 13 Hours in Benghazi behind me, which you signed. Thank you for signing.
Yeah, I did. Of course, man. But it just life, and it was life's obstacles. God just, hey man, sometimes you got to get the leg kicked out from under you, and you have to deal with adversity. You have to handle it. And in 2003, I enlisted, and in 2003 I had become a commissioned officer. I was actually going through training at Fort Benning. So I'd gone from getting, and I want to say kicked out of the military, but I was the first time in, to going back in, doing it all over again, doing basic airborne, Ranger and Doc, and going back to Ranger Battalion as a private, doing it again, and then becoming a commissioned officer, because I had my graduate degree. Granted, I've never used it for anything except to become a commissioned officer, but I had no idea.
I had no idea about that. That's great.
Yeah, I did. I got a little bit of education, but you still learn more out on the streets than you do in the classroom, guys. That's my opinion.
What did you come in? What did you come in as? What was your commission?
My commission, I was commissioned infantry. I was first lieutenant. I mean, a second lieutenant, and just just the normal. I did green to gold, so I did a year of green to gold from enlisted to become a commissioned officer. I already had my degrees.
What they would call a Mustang back in the day. Okay.
Mustang.
All right.
And that was cool because you're respected. He's a Mustang, and he's already got his tab. So I already got my Ranger tab. Come from Ranger Battalion. I was part of 19 Special Forces Group at that time. So he's like, well, shit, he's with the group. Granted, I wasn't long tab, guys. I wasn't. They threw me on an ODA anyway, but I wasn't long tab. You can go ask the group about that. I didn't ask any questions.
Now you're doing the acronym thing. We were supposed to talk about that.
Oh, so we'll talk about it.
We're gonna have to talk about that ODA. And
I was on an Operational Attachment Alpha team, which is the teams, but I was not long tabbed. But that, again, that's a whole nother, we can go down that rabbit hole. Maybe on another show we can explain it.
We should, because there's so much, like I want to do what everyone else does. I want to talk about the Valor stuff. I want to talk about Kennedy, and I want to talk about Jocko. I'm not going to do any of that stuff because it's been done 1,000 times. And I think there's such a big story here. There needs to be a little more forgiveness in the community, man. I'll tell you, people are really harsh, but
you get the clicks, bud. You get the clicks off the drama. the anger and the, oh my gosh, what did he do? He's stolen. Everybody's stolen valor.
I've gotten the same shit, and that's what people do. And they, it's you just kind of got to push to the side and say, you want to look at my DD-214? Why don't you come on and we'll do it together? So I came up the intel route. You went through
I went through
battalion.
infantry, and I went through infantry, was branched infantry, and then in 2003 I had a massive flare up for Crohn's disease. And for those who don't know Crohn's disease is an autoimmune disorder, which means it's not a deficiency. It's actually an immune system that is overactive. It means it's killed a bacteria that got in there, a foreign parasite or whatever, but it doesn't realize that it's gone, so it continues to attack living cells in your small intestine and your colon. So basically, what really just to sum it up, you shit blood. It's
a lower GI issue, yeah.
Yes, and it's
boy.
It's painful and you can't eat, and it's very serious when there's a massive flare up. And we were out at the Malone Ranges, and for those that have been in Fort Benning, if that doesn't put a smile on your face, Malone Ranges, some of the greatest training ranges in the world. But we're out of Benning at the Malone Ranges, and I had to fart, so I basically sharted. So instead of farting, which we've all been there before out in the summer in Fort Benning.
Sure.
And but what came out was blood and mucus and like, wow, this isn't good. Martin Army Hospital, and it sucked because I had gone from in the 90s to becoming a ranger and going to Second Range Battalion to basically failing miserably and getting kicked out of the military. And I was discharged from the military, but the discharge was because of trying to hurt the guy that my ex-wife was sleeping with. So I made a mistake, was arrested, all this. So
was there any other problem with authority? Because in the movie, it seems that you have a perpetual chip on your shoulder.
I grew up that way.
It's who you are. It's who you are. Okay, all right.
So that's me.
So if it wasn't for the wife's boyfriend, it was going to happen sooner or later. This was just the caveat. All right.
It was, but and for those that have got the Dear John letters that have been, a lot of us in the military, I would say half the people in the military have had that happen before, where it's you find out why you're on a deployment. It was a training deployment at Fort Bragg is where I found out we were doing a joint readiness exercise, and I was just a private at the time. I didn't handle it well. I made a huge mistake. Should have handled it, let it go back to the unit, get with the boys, and focus on work like I would do now if it happens now. But at that time, you're young, 20-year-old piss and vinegar, new ranger, fire breather, But I just made a mistake. But God bless who I had as a commander. His name was Paul J. LaCamera, was my captain. And I had one of the most, he is probably one of the greatest Rangers ever to come through the 75th Ranger Regiment, is Frank Grippy. And he was my first sergeant. And I don't know if they saw something behind this guy that's just jacked up, this young private, but I managed to get me an honorable discharge. Now, I didn't know how that was going to help me in the future, but obviously it did, because when I wanted to re-enlist, I wouldn't be able to re-enlist for all you without that honorable discharge. Now I had a reentry code of 3. Now the RE3 code, for those of you guys know, that's not a good reentry code. That means you did something very, very wrong. So it took me time and time again to try to go back in the military. And I went through 8 different recruiters. But during this time frame, and so I always tell people, don't worry about it. Continue to improve. For me, improving was going back to school and getting a job. So I got a job as an insurance adjuster with FEMA, and I was getting my master's degree while I was trying to get myself back into the military. And
when you finally cracked that nut, did you have to go do basic again, or did you just have to go through Ranger?
I went through.
You had to go do basic again. Holy shit!
And airborne and Ranger and RIP again, which is RASP now, option 40.
How old were you when you did that?
I was, when I went back in, 30, because I was 25 when I first joined. So I was, I was around 30.
So
I joined after my bachelor's degree.
You got company commander, right? I mean, because your bed was shit hot, your shoes were perfect. They made you company commander. Tell me they didn't.
No, you go through the dude. it don't make a difference how awesome you are. You're moving your way. You got to go.
I'm just saying, dude, they usually find the old salt who has to go and run basic. We had a couple Army guys that were going through Navy boot with us, and they, of course, they gave them. I got honor man in boot camp, but yeah, so they went through 25 people before me. Okay, so you go through that, you requal, you do all that again. So now you're stepping
go back to 2nd Battalion. So I got right back to, which was lucky because I could have got there one of the other battalions. Went to a different platoon, went to 3rd platoon this time, and then I did get my tab. I stayed there, did my time like a private did, busted my ass, proved myself again. Got my Ranger tab, came back, and when I got I got a gun team, and so now I'm a team leader, getting pushed up.
Well, you advanced fairly quick. That was nice.
Well, I and luckily Ranger Battalion. That's why I love Ranger Battalion. I think all infantry units and all, especially special op units, it's still as you're going to move up based on performance. And every job should be that way. It should be performance based and
meritocracy, 100%.
Wow, and it's amazing how that just makes companies and corporations successful, and it makes the special operations community very successful. So I could run. I mean, I could run 5-minute miles. I could max out. I was maxing out the PT test and beating my team leaders. I could throw a ruck on and run 6-7 miles with my ruck on and run a 6-minute mile. I was very, very blessed. I'm paying for it now with all the surgeries, but
it's the mileage. Yeah.
And I could shoot, and I was also Forrest Gump. Granted, I had an attitude, but I never got anybody pushing the attitude on me because I could perform. And I respected the guys above me because I knew that Ranger had done a lot more shit than me. This platoon sergeant, Sergeant Rothke's way harder than me. I'm not going to argue with this guy because he's been through the hell. He's been to Best Ranger 3 or 4 times. He has, or the guys that come back from Grenada with the commanders that have the mustard stains from Panama or Grenada. I'm not going to argue with those guys. So that's why it was fit. Did I have an attitude? Every Ranger at battalion has an attitude, but the guy before you or the guy above you has done more than you. So you're not gonna talk shit to him because he has gone through more. So listen to him, and that's what I did. I did Forrest Gump. All I did, stood there, made my bed, cleaned my bunk, and did everything with yes, sergeant, and just moved up.
Would your guys define you as the glue guy? Were you the glue guy?
I could be at times, but I could also be the anti-glue guy and just blow.
You could be the acetone guy too. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, I get it. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So and then my platoon leader, I still remember his name, Jason Johnston. He was a Mustang. He was with 10 Special Forces. He became a Zulu there, an 18 Zulu, and then he went and got his commission. He's like, I got to go get my commission. He was our platoon leader, and he goes, you know what? He saw my file. He goes, you have your master's degree. I was like, yes, sir, I do. It's like, why don't you tell anybody? I was like, well, I didn't want anybody to know.
I don't want to be a cake eater. That's why.
Yeah, I don't want. He goes, you need to go. You need to go get your commission. He goes,
of course you do.
You can go to OCS, or you can go 1 year green to gold. What do you want to do? And my wife and the wife I'm married to today, we have 3 children. Beautiful woman. She had got a job at Gold's Gym there in Omaha. She was a very big volleyball player. So I met her. She was playing volleyball at University of Nebraska at Omaha. She got a job managing a gym in Omaha, and by just circumstance, Creighton University had a green to gold program. I was like, you know what? Let's go back and do 1 year green to gold, get my commission, and Tanya can take the job in Omaha, run the gyms. That's what she wants to do because that's her wheelhouse, fitness and athletics. And everything was going great, brother. And I was moving up. I moved up, but did very well at IOBC, did very well. I was rated actually 2nd in the nation for cadets in ROTC. I was a distinguished graduate going through advanced camps, got a couple swords for it, which are pretty cool.
Nice.
And like I said, everything's going well. I'm gonna go back to battalion as a platoon leader. I'm already got the paperwork, and I'm working on it, and it's going to happen. And then my dream after that is, of course, to go to Delta, try out and go to Delta and get a squadron. And then God just said, no, that's not your plan, bud. That's not what's going to happen. And you know what? We're going to put a little bit of adversity on you, a little bit more, and that's when the Crohn's and that bleeding kicked in, and I think rushed me to Martin Army Hospital.
That's when the Book of Job kicked in, and
it did.
That's what happens.
It did.
So who were you when you were stepping into that contract job? I mean, you were kind of on the railroad, right? You're on the tracks.
I was.
And they're telling you, here it is. Then you get that derailment there. So who were you when you were going into contracting specifically?
I was somebody that was just happy to have a job. I was happy, and I felt very lucky because I thought I missed my window. Because I'm, at that time.
Yeah, you're getting older.
And also remember, it's 2001 through 2003.
Right.
I'm watching my buddies that I just left from Ranger Town. They're jumping in. They're taking down targets.
They're outside the wire.
They're working. They're out there doing their Haditha Dam. I mean, that was third bat, but you know what I'm saying. I'm watching the guys that I left. And at the time when I left, we had 9/11 hadn't happened yet. It was right before 9/11, so I didn't know we were going to go to. I may have made a different decision, but so I'm just recovering. I had a year that I had to get my body back right, and get off the prednisone because that's heavy doses of that.
That kills you.
Control. Yeah, and figuring out what I could eat, and that was a job in itself. You're eating something. If it makes you bleed, you cross it off the list, and it comes down to attention to detail and having the intestinal fortitude to take time to try to figure out what the problem is and solve it. And you can't do it overnight, because we're in this damn fast food society. We want things to happen now, and it didn't. So it took me a year. I got my body back up. I built myself back up. I basically lived a paleo. What's it when you can only eat meat? Was that paleo?
High protein. I don't know.
Whatever.
The MAT diet, because that's pretty much all I do is eat meat. That's all.
But I could
protein
eat,
and lift
protein and which was good. I mean, I couldn't eat any flour. If it was flour, or I couldn't eat real bread, processed stuff, unless it was made from flour from the Bible, which was the weirdest thing. If it was manna bread, I ate manna bread, tuna fish, and I'd eat beef every once in a while. I could still eat dark chocolate, and that was like my saving grace. I had to quit drinking, stop drinking, and then I got a call end of 2003, beginning of 2004, from Blackwater, out of the blue, just out of the blue. They called me and they said, "Hey, Blackwater Street."
He lives. By the way, I'm not going to say names, but
I can say. I'm sorry, I just gave it away.
No, you're okay. But he lives next door to me.
Eric took care of the boys. I got nothing bad to say about Eric. Nothing.
Well, that's great. That's great, because I just want to say, if you ever come out here to see him, you can stop by my house.
Oh yeah,
high
five.
I could throw a rock at him. I mean, that's how close he is.
He was, he was the boss, but and I know him very well because I protected him in between contracts, him and his family from GRS. Again, that's a whole nother. That's a few years down the line, but He's a good man. He took care of the boys when he ran Blackwater. He took care of us, and I have no complaints. But anyway, the call came out of nowhere, and they were like, "Do you want to go to Iraq?" And I'm like, "Do what? What are you guys?" I didn't know what they were. And they're like, "You want to be a contractor?" They didn't say security contractor. They said I didn't know what that was. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Of course not.
I thought it was hammer and nails. I thought
right. Intel, you hear contractor all the time, but when it comes to soft guys, I mean, it's probably not talked about.
At that time, really, because the only detail was Karzai was the only detail, and then Bremer was just Bremer was coming on, but a lot of us didn't know that, but then they explained it to me, and I said, "Well, how'd you get my name?" And they said, "Well, the guy you served with at 2nd Ranger Bat, we're looking for guys. He gave us your name, and he said that you had just been medically discharged." He was a guy I stayed in touch with, and
there's your in.
He said,
"Yep."
And he's like, he said, "Are you healthy enough to go?" There was no medical test. There was no physicals. It was, can you do a PT test? Can you still shoot? And are you well enough to go? And, I'm on the phone going, "Well, I'm still sick." I'm like, "Yeah, I can do all that."
Then you heard the paycheck, and you're like, "Now I can really do it."
And it was. The paycheck was good. And the funny thing is I got a call 2 minutes later from Triple Canopy. And the only reason I went with Blackwater is because they called first. Both, but at that time too, Lee Van Arsdale had a tremendous program as well. Triple Canopy was top notch as well. So I couldn't have gone wrong with either, to be honest with you. And buddy, the next from 2004 to 2013 actually contracted, and that's where I started going overseas, and I did multiple trips for 10 years to every GWAT country in the world, and then some, and even South America and Central America. And it was, to be honest, because of my sometimes the disrespect for authority. I think God knows what he's doing. God always knows what he's doing.
Yep.
Probably saved me from a court martial and a punching a commander in the face that would have probably happened down the line with somebody.
Sure.
Was a contractor, less oversight. You can be a little bit more outspoken, but you also get your job done. And I had a wonderful experience as a contractor with various contracting companies, not just Blackwater.
How did the team guys? I've spent some time with SEAL team guys, and as you have, how did they react? I'm Navy, so to me it's normal, and I see Rangers or MARSOC guys, and I'm like, okay, a little bit different. Drummers, it's like they're like goalies for hockey teams. But how did they? It seemed like you were talking a little bit of shit there, and in the movie, is that the way you were with team guys too?
Yeah, of course it did. But they know that's just the banter, and I'm not the only Ranger that would do stuff like that.
Of course.
That's the banter, and I give shit to Marines just like they would give shit back to me. Oh, the Air Force guy's coming in. Oh my gosh, get his air conditioner ready. That's right. He's gonna need. Right. Yeah, but
he needs his shrimp fork at chow.
Oh, he's like, it's like, hey PJ, are you eating your food with your pinky up? But again, who doesn't want a pair of rescue men on their freaking team? Right. Who doesn't want that combat controller? Oh, who's got the mic? Who's got the comms? Hey man, CCT give the shit to him, because they are top notch. And to be honest, guys, they are top notch. They are. If we really want to sit down and compare NDOCs, the Air Force Special Ops NDOC program is probably the most difficult because it implements so much book work along with the physical work. Right. And I think it is. Hey, Ranger, no joke. RIP was no joke. I got punished. But I got through it. Ranger school sucked. It sucked. It's awful, but I got through it. But looking at the NDOCs, BUDS, no joke. All of them they're supposed to be hard. They're supposed to be.
Right. But all different AORs, all different mission parameters.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But that Air Force NDOC, man, it's tough, because especially if you're going to be a PJ, because you got to go get smoked up and then learn all these body parts, learn how to do medical stuff. It's
right
beyond me. But that was it. That was the contracting, and that's how I got in. And that was Tanto. And if you want to say Tanto in the third person, speaking about me in the third person, I am speaking about myself in the third person here. It's all adversity. Growing up had a lot of adversity. I'm not going to sit here and being one of these Hollywood types that everything in the world went wrong to him, be boo boo. I'm a victim. That's not it. But
right.
But I'm Mexican. We grew up. My grandfather was an immigrant. I'm Mexican. We grew up. We didn't have a ton of money. Granted, I had more money than my mom had, who had more money than my grandfather had. But that's how you're supposed to.
It's supposed to work that way, right?
Latino community, that's how Latino families most of the time are. Is everyone is a little bit better off, and that's how families get bigger and stronger. But it was always, a little bit of adversity here, a little bit of adversity here. Then to get, leaving the military and being humbled by being discharged early from the Ranger Battalion in the Army, and that just being a humiliating experience. Then the disease that I've had to fight, and I'll never get rid of it. I'll always have it. And then just the normal stuff you go through, a divorce. I say normal, but divorce, or being downrange and making a bad call and a little girl died, or going out and just doing a normal daily activity, and out of the blue, this guy walking down the street just gets, he's a casualty of war. He's mistakenly shot, or, and so when Benghazi happened, and this is the good Lord again, I was plenty ready. Just
okay. Mentally. So you feel that battalion set you up to operate successfully in Benghazi?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so you were a hard charger. You're ready to go. You're just hit the ground running, right?
But yeah, and it was easy, and that's you forget about that too, and just the adversity going through Ranger School, going through just that kind of adversity. Right. And I guess I don't even consider that adversity. That's just training, but it is. Sure. That's what Ranger School is. Ranger School is every day. There's adversity. You're cold. You're hungry. You don't want to work with the guys because they're cold and hungry, and you get to be a bigger bitch the more cold and hungry that you are. And that's what Ranger School is. And I guess that also, that pressed me, that pushed me. And then just the personal stuff, just the normal adversity that we go through in life, that everybody goes through in life, whether it's, and I don't compare your adversity with mine. It's adversity. It's period.
Right. Every it's all perspective. Did you, as a young kid, because I want to talk about the young man, because that's like, I want to do the today, tomorrow. Did you see that you were being shaped for something else? Did you like when I was coming up through the ranks, I didn't recognize that I was being molded for something that I didn't understand. I mean, getting multiple C schools, it's unheard of. It doesn't happen for a seaman or even an IS3. So did you recognize that you were being built for something better?
I didn't recognize. No, I didn't see that. I saw that I fit in the military. I fit at the Ranger Battalion like a square peg in a square hole. It just worked. I physical fitness and performance and working your tail off. That's Ranger Battalion. That's what it is. And that was how I was raised. My grandfather being from Mexico and an immigrant, he went from being an immigrant and being working as a laborer on a farm to owning his own farm. I mean, you work hard and hard work pays off. Yep. There you go, right there. And so that was how it is when I was with the Ranger Battalion. I know that hasn't changed. It hasn't changed in any of the special operations community. I don't think it's changed in any of the combat arms or combat support units within the military. Performance based. You work your ass off, you're going to move up. Now, are there times you're going to run into that sergeant or some lieutenant that's got to stick up his keister and may overlook you, or you may miss this promote there? Yes, of course, but that's adversity. So you work a little harder next time so they can't overlook you. And that was something my father used to always tell me. He'd always say, and my mom said it too. He would say, work so hard that they cannot not pick you. Work so hard. And my grandfather, she would sum it up even better. She's like, hey, don't let the surname, we were Garcias, my grandfather, Sir Garcias. Don't let the surname, don't let anybody, whether you look different with this, don't let anybody say that you weren't good enough.
Right.
If they don't want to pick you because of who you are, that's their problem. But don't ever give them the reason and say, hey, we don't want him because he can't do the job. And that stuck with me from when I was 5. I still remember hearing that when I was 5.
You're teaching your kids that now too, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, because and especially even more so now, you see today's society is being a victim and making excuses is actually profitable. You see it on the internet, you see it on the media, social media all the time. It's like that. No, that's not how life should be. That life is busting your ass, and you will succeed if you continue to bust your ass. And you have to have some honesty there. You have to have some integrity. You have to have some honor. And you have to know that karma is going to come back and get you, because it will. If you you're a hard worker, but you screw somebody over, it's going to come back around. So there are caveats to that. But to me, in a nutshell, is how I was raised. Hard work pays off. Hard work always does.
People always talk about their individual efforts, but rarely do they understand that you've got 5, 20, 1,000 other guys who are vying for the same thing you are.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize. Like, well, I do so much. It's like, yeah, and so do 1,000 other people. So what are you doing to elevate the people around you? Because that's what the military is all about. Here's the question. So you get to the compound, you get to the annex, you start taking fire. And I want to skip a little bit of it, unless there's something that correlates to the young man, the guy who was there, and then the other guy.
Sure.
But what's your first assessment, right? Did it feel like it was a probe? Did it feel like a coordinated assault? What were the comms like?
You could hear it. I mean, when you're overseas that many years, and it wasn't my first rodeo. I've been doing that for a while at that point. When it's just sporadic gunfire and when it's actually direct and coordinated gunfire. And it did sound,
Could you feel that? Was the town abuzz? Could you feel it in the town? Could you feel it in the streets? I mean, was it that palpable?
Once we were with Roan and he said, you don't have to go. And we all nope. That's when we started to move and started to actually go towards, when the movement started to go towards to the concept really, that's when it was like, oh, yeah. They're
How did
getting
you
hammered.
build a working assessment in that environment though, man? So like, I'm thinking about moving towards action. How are you coming up with that? Were you literally just because you left in your silkies,
No.
for God's sakes, right?
Yeah, no, I had shorts on. I had some
Oh.
cargo shorts, and they were true spec pants that I had cut when I was
okay.
doing when I was working in Kandahar. I had a tailor in Kandahar that made them for me, and I wore them doing anti-piracy stuff when I was floating on the Gulf of Aden. I wore them all the time, so I had them. They're still, I still got them in a tuck box right over there.
Okay.
But no, how you do it is first of all experience. Second of all, which is me. You've got. I've been shot at before. And I said I'm not Sergeant York, guys. There's guys been through a lot more shot. Got shot a lot more than me. I'm not saying that at all. But I've been through enough bombs at that point. Been through enough IEDs at that point. Enough mortar attacks. Enough gunshots that I knew it was. And I was older. I was in my 40s at that time. A lot of experience at that point. A lot of adversity where it was just, all right. Take it in, take a breath. And I always tell guys this when I teach CQB, when I'm teaching any sort of training for battle line, it's always take a breath. You have that second to take a breath and let everything start to come in so you can understand what's going on. Not that it's going to overwhelm you. Guys start to go too fast and people start to move too fast towards the objective and they don't know what they're doing. And now they are flying by the seat of their pants.
Right.
So
then they're on the X and then they're in trouble.
But none of us, and that was the beauty of that team. None of us were like that. And usually you'll have a guy he's a little too jittery. He wants to get in too quick instead of just taking a step back and going, what's going on? All right, take it all in. What kind of gunfire am I hearing? Am I seeing tracers? Okay, so they must not have night vision. Okay, am I hearing a slower rate of fire from like for a dish gun? Am I hearing a bigger gun? Am I hearing that RPG go boom, boom? Am I hearing the boom when it goes and then the boom when it hits?
Right.
And you're assessing, and then you're starting to look on the other sides. Okay, we got to go out this gate. I'm looking around. Do I see any fires? Do I see any lights? Which means they would be moving on us. You'll start to see a glow. You can't. At night, it's nighttime. They don't have night vision. They do have flames going, and they do have lights going, and they do, and
burning cars and tires and shit. Yeah.
So okay, looks like our avenue is okay. We're good. All right, Roan, what do you got coordinated? Roan's our guy. Roan, hey, Matt, buddy, we got any coordination? Any other troops? Nope, we got nobody. All right, are we going? Yes, we're going. All right, let's start to move. And there was a hiccup there as we started to move, going through all those. And you're wargaming. We call it wargaming, or you can call it what ifing. Some guys call it what ifing. Some guys call it wargaming. You're going through all these things in the head, scenarios. And the only way you can do that is through training, hard training, or you've been through it. Real time scenario. Yeah. Real time, in general, it's a combination of both. Sure. Of course. So we're going through it, and I remember thinking and going, man, we're missing something. What the hell am I missing? Because war's chess. War's a game of chess. It's not a game of race to your gun. It's a game of being 3 steps ahead of your opponent, so you don't have to race to your gun. Sure. And I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm trying to stay ahead. What's going on? Everything seems good. We're moving. The most basic thing you GWOT guys need downrange is an interpreter. You need a guy. You need a guy that speaks the language.
I was going to ask you, what was it? His name wasn't Punjab. What was his name?
His name was, we call him all, his name's Henry.
Henry.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, that's his real call sign. He's got an Arabic name.
I know, but I remember another movie where the guy was Punjab, who was the interpreter, and that was
we call him in our movie. It's Amal. We call him Amal in the movie.
Amal. Okay, all right. So you obviously you have some pretty seasoned professionals there. Oz Marine Corps, right?
Oz Marine, Tig Marine. Boone Marine.
SEALs.
He was a state platoon Marine. So he's guys state platoon. Here's the acronyms again: surveillance, target acquisition. He's a sniper. That's the sniper units. And Roan was a former blue guy with SEAL Team 6 guys, but he also worked on the white soft teams too, of course. And Jack was a white soft or they call him regular SEAL. He was SEAL Team 5.
Oh, okay, 5. All right, I didn't know what team he was on. All right, so you've got guys who've been downrange. You've got guys who've they've tasted the dirt, they've tasted the water, they know what's going on. Okay, so was the interpreter Henry? Was he kind of your? He wasn't the guy trying to get and push active, but he was your squirrel, right? He was your squirrel that you guys were trying to keep on a leash, right?
He was Henry. Henry was a linguist. Henry wasn't a combat Terp by any means. He was.
I saw that in the movie.
Yeah.
He flagged you like 17 times.
Oh, dude, he was. I love that little guy, and I wish we could have put what he really looked like in real life. Amal actually looks. No, he was much more adorable than even Amal. He was adorable. He had little glasses. He was bald. When I do my speeches, I do a lot of public. I shouldn't say a lot. I don't do a lot anymore. Used to. I like to be home more than anything. But if you guys know who Bob Newhart is, from Melbourne, he looked like an Arabic Bob Newhart.
Love American style. Love American style.
And
oh, man.
But I tell people this all the time. Like, guys, you think you have to be this, you have to be law enforcement, you have to be a firefighter, you have to be in the military, you have to be a ranger, SEAL to have courage.
No,
you don't. You just have to be willing to give of yourself for someone else. And he was shitting himself. We stopped the cars, because we stopped the cars. I get out, and this is the good Lord in having faith again, having faith that things are going to work out. You're staying positive. Faith's still there. Faith, God, please help me find him, because he will not. I'm trying to reach him on the radios, the icons, the radios. I'm trying to reach him. He won't come up on him. We got to have him. Been through enough of these. And all of us know that we need him. And it's not just me. I'm not like the smartest guy in the room by any means. Every guy on the team knows we need him. And man, I tell you what, as soon as I walked around the front of the car, he was right there. I did look up in the sky. I went, thank you. I just exactly like that. Yeah. And by deer in headlights, just like you would think that you would see.
Adrenaline's going, man. like his intake is not narrowed. It's full field vision. He has no idea. Like, he's feeling the throbbing in his head. His blood vision is going.
Those filters are off. There's no filters at all. He's just
toast.
Taking everything.
Everything in.
Everything is.
Someone fired at him. He wouldn't know unless somebody grabbed him and probably threw him down. So like, there's a moment always, whether it's combat or in any situation, when you're like, you recognize whether something's a short duration problem, whether it's going to be a few minute firefight, or did it register that this was going to be like a sustained fight? And how did you guys lock in on that? Oh, you didn't.
You don't. You don't look to the finish line. I think that's the worst thing. And one thing I learned, if you're in a defensive position, which is what we are, we're protectors. We're not a direct action element. We don't have the control per se. We're trying to regain the control, and that's why I think security contracting, being a security officer, is very difficult, because you are responding. Law enforcement, you're responding. You're not the one that's going through the door and throwing that flashbang and I got control and I'm controlling what's going on here. You're responding to somebody who already has control. And so in that mindset, what I learned, and this is not just me, I learned it from guys a lot better than me. It was, don't wait for it to end. Don't think it's going to end. You just keep pressing. You keep putting those bricks up. You keep working. You keep killing the bad guy till there's no more to
fight until the fight's over. Yeah.
Yeah, until it's over. And that's why I said they're all bad guys till they're not. And that was my mindset. That was my mind. It was, everybody's a bad guy until they're not a bad guy anymore. And the only time they weren't a bad guy is when I got off the plane in Tripoli that following morning and went on the CIA annex in Tripoli. Those weren't bad guys. But then as soon as we went back out the gate to go get on the aircraft to fly us to Germany, there were bad guys again.
Right.
And that was the mindset. I never gave up my weapon system. I never gave up my magazines, ever. I kept them all the way to Germany, all the way. They never left my side.
So you're in that sporadic conflict, right? So you're exchanging rounds and you're sending rounds downrange, and then all of a sudden the fight backs off, and it seems like you had several lull moments. And I want to just ask this real quick, and you can tell me whether that's true or not based on the movie and the book. That downtime obviously is the worst. It's talked about in the book. It's talked about in the movie.
Yeah,
but when you're checking off ammo discipline, you're looking at casualties, you're looking at your fields of fire, you're positioning, reassessing where the enemy is, all that shit. That's still active, and it's maybe passive combat, but it's still a mission.
It's your job. You're just doing your job.
How much actual downtime did you have? How much time did you have to start looking at the stars and going, holy shit, I'm recognizing my own mortality?
Man, I looked at the stars. That's one thing that I learned, and I was even growing up, is growing up on a farm in Delta, Colorado, and then Grand Junction, and then even growing up, in Alamosa,
Delta,
Colorado.
I know Alamosa and Delta.
I love, Delta. I was born in Alamosa, and then my grandfather's farm was in Delta, and I would always look up in the sky. And that is one thing I did. I was so thankful to be working after thinking I wasn't going to be able to do any of these jobs. And I mean, I'm sitting on a rooftop in Losh Kagar. We're doing with the agency. I remember one night, and I remember just looking up in the stars and like, holy crap! I can't believe I went from thinking I missed my war to I've been doing this, and I'm going to places I never thought I would go. Sneaking in with an Afghani helicopter in a soccer stadium, taking a little down, and now I'm up on this building. Nobody even knows I'm here, and I'm looking up the stars with the Copenhagen in my mouth, going, "Wow, dude."
Yeah.
So every place I would go, and that was, later when Benghazi happened, I made sure that's the breath. It's like I'm looking up, man. Take this in, take it all in. This. And you literally are thinking, and we're not thinking a movie's going to be made, but in my head, I'm thinking, man, this is shit they make movies about. This is stuff that people, and that's why I'm looking at where Oz and Tig are, and I'm seeing what they're doing. Like, wow, that is so cool. And I'm looking over, and the console's still on fire, and you can see that with their night vision, it's just complete. It's just wow, look at that glow. We've since moved on, and then looking up in the skies, and looking up in the sky with your NVGs on. A clear night sky was beautiful, and also I was also hoping to see a little strobe circling.
Right. What did that mean? Because I was going to ask you when ISR came in, because that's a whole nother conversation. So because that's my team. So sorry we let you down, brother.
Sorry, it wasn't you, dude. It was the command structure. It wasn't the guys
man, I wasn't even fucking in at the time. I mean, I was, but I was doing civilian contracting stateside, so completely different situation. Damn Skippy, God, man, it's crazy because when you hear that, even now today, you hear guys are downrange, and you're just like, fuck, man, how do I get in the fight? How do I help? What can I do? That never goes away. You can attest that. But like, you talk about instinct, you talked about like building reps under pressure. You talked about that earlier. Like, which reps paid off for you? And I guess that's what I was really asking, not just the downtime, but what reps like saved your ass?
Sure. The reps of failing and picking myself up, because I did never give up hope. I never gave up that we're not going to win this. Because every time that I was set up for failure, whether it was Ranger School, whether it was going through Ranger Induct program, whether it was going through basic,
right?
And they do set you up for failure.
Yeah.
How can you respond to that?
Yeah.
And that was it. That was some of the greatest the best training in the world is failing. Can you pick yourself up and keep moving? And so I when they between 1 and 3 a.m. after that first firefight and the second firefight at our place, when we finally realized nobody was coming, because we kept getting word people were coming, and then we'd get a word 15 minutes later, no, they're not. Different units in the area. It can become it can, if you let it get to you, it can become soul crushing, and you're going to give up.
Yes, it is, man.
And then. Looking at Boone, and then knowing I had Roan, knowing I had Tig, knowing I had Oz, knowing I had Jack, none of us were in the mindset that we're going to lose or we're going to give up. It was easy just to say, you know what? We'll figure this out. We're going to figure this out. We got this. And I said, that wasn't me talking. That was everybody talking on that team. So I think the biggest things to learn, and that's even growing up, all those setbacks, the being thrown out of the military the first time, to having the disease, and picking myself and working my ass off to get back to where I wanted to be.
Right.
That all culminated to really where nobody came. There's nobody coming. And you have that doubt, that little bit of, demon darkness I felt, you can feel it. It creeps in, and it's like, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. And you have to just, fuck you, I'm not. Get the hell out of here.
Well, that's where your brothers come in, right?
That's
where they come in.
And it is. It's. I'm saying here, we're going to make it out, and it is. It's not, and it isn't. I should say, I'm going to make it. It comes from I'm going to make it to we're going to make it.
Yeah.
We're getting out of here.
Sorry, everybody. I've got a 24-hour AIDS virus, it seems, so I'm working through it. But I wasn't going to miss this show for anything. But FY, donations are hot tonight. You guys know that. I'm not calling them out. I'm just giving you a salute and a thank you, and I appreciate you and
Thank
love
you, guys.
Yeah. And also, you want to go to Tanto's site. Listen, he's got some great stuff, and you can go over and look at the Fjord. It's Ford, right? It's Ford, yeah.
It's forged. He says Ford. I always say Fjord like Viking. He goes,
that's
no,
what I thought. It's forged.
It's Alabama.
That's funny. That's a seal. That's a seal brand. Forged is a seal brand. He better say Fjord.
But yeah,
anyway,
he does a good job. He makes the hats. He's a great leather. We've been with him since the beginning. The wallets he makes. I even got still.
While he goes and grabs that wallet, let me just tell you, he's got jerky over there. We got Tanto vodka. You guys, we're setting up. We want to go do some CQB work or do a rifle training course. I want to bring my son out there. So, like, Tanto's a great dude. He's got a bunch of shit. You can get his book on Amazon. Just go over to his site.
You can actually get it from my website, and I'll sign it for you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Do his website. Don't go to Amazon. Sorry, I forgot.
Man. As long as you guys are not forgetting, that's all that depends. That's all that matters to me. And I know we wanted to talk about that a little bit, but like the Benghazi guy they caught, I mean, we can get into that too.
No, dude, I got people will tell you I'm pretty meticulous with how I lay things out. You couldn't tell I'm a little OCD, right? So there's a reason for these questions, and it's different, like I said, than any other show I think you've done, is because the focus isn't about Benghazi necessarily. It's the journey. It's like the scars scars you have and the scars we can't see. So that's going to lead into this question. So you're years removed from it, right? So what details are still sharp, and like the sounds on the net, the movement on the rooftop, the weight of responsibility, what is you can taste it, like you can taste grandma's apple pie. What is it about that night that you will remember?
The smells, definitely smells, and the taste, and you can still. It's a pungent. It is pungent. That's why that where you have Jack. It's kind of pungent. Well, we're like put that in the movie. Got to put that in because it is that pungent, but it's not. It's not. To me, it's not something that is sickening to me. It makes me smile. I'll take a whiff of something pungent that smells a little bit like sweat, a little bit like cordite. a little bit like dust, a little bit like the sheep slaughterhouse, because there was right there.
Oh,
and it doesn't make me. It makes me smile. I'll just smile. I'm like, man, because and the stuff. I'm glad you asked about the stars. The stars. When I see a starry night out, that reminds me of the stars and seeing that. And I think the biggest thing that I take away from it all is. And it doesn't matter what movie it is. It makes no difference. It doesn't matter. If there is anything, a movie, and it can be a fictional movie, it can be a cartoon, it can be where a team is going out and they may not come back. They're going out to help. They're going out to save a life. They're going out and they're risking their lives and not coming back. I'll cry. Because I still remember standing in front with the guys and that's what that scene in this is so powerful for me. It's like we're leaving and we may not come back. Yeah. Who's with me? Who's with me? And what's the good Lord say? Hey, send me. And it is. That's right. From the Bible. Send me. And that always gets. And it can be. We could be watching a cartoon and I'll see it and I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting to tear up because I remember standing there. And watching guys, none of them blinked and going, we're going. And being so proud to be part of that, not me being a tough guy. I like, holy crap, look at all these badass. And I get to be part of this. This is, how lucky am I? And that still holds the strongest emotion for me is the willingness to self-sacrifice with each other. And we're going. And I just, it's still, obviously I keep rambling on about it because still affects me positively.
I've talked to you on the show. Runny nose, man. Fuck. I've talked to you on the show. I've talked to you on the phone. I don't care. I can listen to you for hours, man, because it's the exchange of the conversation. So like, let's crank this up a little bit and go to DEFCON 2. Survivor's guilt. we all have it, right? The military community carries it. We carry it with our brothers and sisters who fall. That constant self-assessment. Could I have moved quicker? If I was here instead of there, if I did something differently? How did you process that bullshit? And do you still circumnavigate that hole, or have you found your way out?
Well, no, I just don't know that it will always be there. There's an acceptance. If you try to forget, that's when it's going to eat you up, because you can't forget. It's going to, and I even tell other veterans that, stop trying to forget. It's not going to go away. But yeah, I do. My specific one is, and I know the other guys have the same mindset for the most part. I don't want to speak on their behalf, but I believe they'll agree with me. We should just left center. God dang it. If we just would have left 15 minutes earlier, if we just would have got the hell out of there and disobeyed orders, I really do believe Ambassador Kris Stevens and Sean Smith would still be alive. And I did get questioned on this during the first Benghazi hearing with Mike Rogers, who's a clown. It was a joke. It was a joke hearing. It was a clown. They all
feel the same way. Yeah,
he's a turd. And for those that don't know, he's also a Republican, or at least he was. But he's a
Trey Gowdy, Jason Chaffetz. He's that type. He's Lindsey Graham. He's in that crowd. So
he's terrible. But they asked, one of his aides asked me, and it wasn't Rogers' aide. I think it was Adam Schiff's aide, because it was one of those, And he goes. I go, we should have left early. He asked me that. I said, well, yeah, we should have left earlier. We should have disobeyed orders. Oh, you weren't told to stand down. Yeah, we were. But regardless, we should have left earlier. Well, you would have died, is what he said. You guys probably would have died. I said, you know what? That's our job. I said it, matter of fact, that's our job. But what that would have done is it would have pulled all the bad guys. They would have focused on us, and it would have given the State Department security officers their ability to do their jobs, which is get the ambassador get the ambassador out. That's the State Department security job at that point. And get him out of there. And they didn't like that. I didn't get to answer that question again. In fact, the King, New York, he's a Republican. The one of the senators from New York, I think his name was Peter King or something. He just started laughing. So I was like, what did you think I was going to say? We did disobey orders. Yes, we did. But we should have disobeyed it sooner. And that will always stay with me. Yes, and that does bother me sometimes, especially around 9/11. Always does. The whole weekend of leading up to 9/11 and the day after,
you go dark.
I don't, leave me alone. But it's hard because I'd get speaking events at those times, or now sometimes I'll do those and I'll bring the family with me, and they are very cathartic. They are very good. Sometimes they're good for me. But the media, I don't do any of that. I used to get asked to do all sorts of stuff on the media up to that week in the 9/11.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Like, nope, I'm not doing it. No, I don't want to, because I want to put a bullet in my head after I'm done. And don't do that, folks. But that's how I feel. But I also recognize that that's just part of what I signed up for. I know what I did. And I know if Roan was here and I was gone, Roan would have that survivor's guilt too, but he would be the same as he is right now, the same as I would be. Live your life. You're here. Don't be inconsolable. What does he expect me to do? He expects me to live. Roan expects me to live. Bub expects me to live. Just as I would be if I was one of those, if I was on the other end and I had died, I wouldn't want Roan or Bub or them to crawl in a hole and drink themselves silly and never come out. I want you guys to live. You sacrifice. They sacrificed themselves for me.
Yeah.
I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't live. I'd be being a complete douchebag asshole if I didn't live.
Yeah.
And so, no, so yes, it bothers the heck out of me. Obviously, I was talking to it, and I'm swearing a little bit here because it is very close to my heart.
We're all adults. We can handle it.
But it is. But I still will live, and I want to be the best father now, and the best husband, and the best trainer I can be out there when people come out the battle line course. The best person I could be, and that's honestly, Bud, that's why I kind of stopped doing all the media and doing all the podcasts and all the stuff I did. Because they always wanted to talk about the negative and the awfulness, and it made me feel even worse. And that wasn't the best person I could be. And I want people to remember. I want people to remember not the not just the deaths, but man, Ron's a hero. That dude
Right.
was. You should have seen him. He was a badass that night, being our medic, running around, then getting in firefights, then going and bandaging everybody up, and then I mean, people need to remember that, and that's something I will always it will always inspire me when I have one of those moments. Like, man, why am I here and they're not? Why me? Why do
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. This is where I'm gonna take a little time, and I've been really good because I never shut up. You and I are cut from the same cloth. I'll tell you why, man. Is because I believe that the candle that burns twice as bright lasts half as long, and I think there was a lot of time in your life that you were not burning as bright as you could be. And that built you for who you are today, and you are now shining, my brother. Let me tell you why. And this is, I can't compare to what you've done in life, but I'm also a pretty good judge of character, and I've done a lot of shit, and I've seen a lot of people, and I've worked with some pretty powerful people in retail and in the military, and I am a pretty good judge of character. It's not just the way you treated my son, which you went above and beyond. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You made his,
Oh, man, he's awesome.
I know, but you turned him, he was in a real bad place, and it just gave him hope, and it just moved him. But here's what people don't know, is that I reached out to you, and Olivia was making the rounds of saying, okay, it's been almost 6 months. Let's reach out to a couple people, and let's get Tanto on for a real conversation. And she reached out, and you had just clicked off Battle Line podcast. It just went dark, and you kind of had this, like, I'm not doing anything, just like you said. And Olivia comes back and she's like, I got to respect Tanto. He said he can't make it. It's a real bummer because I just wanted to see him and say hi, and I really like him. And dude, you replied like a minute later and said, is that Matt, Olivia? You know what? I don't do this anymore, but I will do this. And then there was a scheduling snafu. I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. And you owned it, dude. And you're like, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, and we'll be there, and don't rush it. I'm like, no, we'll just do an hour. And you're like, not a chance. We're going to do the whole thing. Kris, affability is one of the rarest commodities that people have, where you are just a likable dude. It's really hard to find nowadays. I'm not a likable dude. I'm arrogant. I'm conceited. I'm an asshole, but you're a likable dude. So just some accolades to you. I think you should be put in for the CMH. And although you can't be put in that because you guys weren't in a military capacity, you and I both know what you guys did was valorous beyond what most people will do. You saved an incredible amount of lives. So let me ask a question. I'm going to segue, and then you get to talk the whole rest of the time because I love
No, that's good. I needed my green tea break anyway. Come on.
There you go. That's right. That's right.
Okay, we're good. Got some honey in there. I'm ready to go.
You and I both know, like, okay, so we've got the younger guy. We know how you were raised, kind of how you came up through the system and the hierarchy. So now it's about reintegration, which is like its own mission. We know that reintegration sucks. Yeah. You step off a plane, the threat posture is supposed to drop to 0, but unfortunately, it's even harder in some cases than what you were facing downrange. So, like, what did that transition look like for you and your family? What habits followed? It's obviously they accompany you on trips, but here's the real question: is like that high threat environment that is not in everyday life. How did you recalibrate without losing the edge that like keeps you as an instructor and somebody who has a taste of life? How did you keep that edge without just abandoning those things?
I don't think you can, and you can never abandon them. They're not gone, and that's a curse too, a very big curse, because when my daughter, for example, when my daughter leaves and goes out with her boyfriend, what is my first thought? My first thought is the people, the crazies that are out there, and I can't protect her.
Yes.
And I had to learn, and I'm still learning every day. You gotta pray, God, hey, take care of her. Please watch over her, protect her, let her get home safely. You got to let go a little bit. And it's hard because once you've seen the worst, and law enforcement guys, I think this affects them more than anything. And that's why we have a high suicide rate in law enforcement.
Huge.
You see the worst. You see the worst of people. You see the worst of what people are capable of. And when your loved one is going out and even just going to school some days, it's like, gosh, man, I don't feel good today. Nothing bad's going to happen, but you have that feeling of, what if there's a school shooter today? And that's what I'm saying, guys. I have those feelings every day. You have to have faith in the Lord. You have to have trust in the Lord, and you have to realize, that, hey, man, I got to go on with my life. I got to go on daily activities. I'm going to go to the gym. Let's get the workout in. I've got to do some work. I got to get my work in. And you realize that, what, a lot of those feelings that you have in the worst of people, they're not going to come to fruition. They're not. You're basically letting your demons beat you. And that's what I would think. This demon is beating me. And I let demons beat me up to almost to 2018. And I did try to take my own life. Yeah. And this was during the time when I had the most money. Now, I was estranged from my wife at the time. We had actually got divorced, the one I remarried to, because of me being an idiot. Me being, hey, I'm living, I got money, I got popularity, I'm flying all the way around across the country, man. I'm a rock star, and I'm living the rock star life, and that's not me. I'm succumbing to every vice that you're going to succumb to. And I did, whether it was drugs, whether it was women, whether it was alcohol, it didn't matter, the trifecta. And,
did you lose God? Did you lose God during that time?
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't stop believing, but I stopped praying. I mean, I would pray at night. I've prayed every night since I was 15, but they weren't sincere. There's prayers and then there's prayers. They weren't sincere. And the belief was, you know what? I'm gonna do whatever I want. And a lot of it was also too, it's like, you know what? Life sucks right now. I know I've got a lot of money. I know I've got 1 million followers on the Twitter, on the Twatter. I've got 500,000 on the Instagram. I mean, I was miserable. I was so miserable. And that was when I was doing the news all the time. I mean, I walk down the street or go through an airport and somebody's going to recognize me. And
the problems follow you.
It is. And it was cool for about the first year. And then it was, what in the hell am I turned into? And I did let those demons come at me. I did let those demons, because now the kids and the wife are living somewhere else. So I'm always worried about them, but I can't be with them because, they've moved out. I'm living by myself. And it was right around Christmas time in December. And I did. I remember grabbing a Glock. I remember doing the crying game thing in the shower, the same scene, naked in the shower. Right. If you've ever watched the crying game, I have, guys. That's
another image. That's an image right there.
But coming out. But what saved me was Benghazi, to be honest with you. It was.
So walk me through that. Walk me through that. So as a person who sat at the edge of the bed, just like that, exactly like that, and with a Glock 19 California model, because I was
Glock 19.
I was in California at the time, so I had 10 rounds, but my thick skull, I probably would need all of them. What talked you out? What tucked you out of the hole? Because that's going to move into our next topic.
I was able to look at myself in the mirror, which I hadn't been able to do. Like, look, you can look at yourself in the mirror combing your hair, but you're not looking at yourself in the mirror. No, I've got eye contact on myself. I've got the Glock here. It's loaded. It's on the chair. I got it in my hand. It's my wife and the kids are at Disney World. They're on vacation. They're Christmas vacation. They're gone. I'm at home. Omaha in the wintertime is a very desolate, cold place.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, like, okay, and I thought about this from grandma. My grandma used to always say, did you work hard in the field? My grandma, my abuela, was awesome. She's like, did you work hard in the field? I'm thinking about her and how she would always, no excuses, you work your ass off. The women in my side of the family, the Latina women, are harder than nails. They're tough. I got a lot of my toughness from this.
Yeah, I'm married to one. I know.
Yeah, So, and then I thought, okay, wait a second. Okay, then the military, I got released. And I fought my ass to get back in there. All right. Then I got this disease that I'll never get rid of, but I still managed to deploy for almost 11 years. I went back into Ranger Battalion. I got my tab. I succeeded there. All right. Then I went through 10 years, and you're just deployments. I've got back from every deployment I've been on, and I've been safe. Even close calls, I'm fine. I popped through it. And then I went through hell on Benghazi. I'm thinking, that's hell on earth. That was supposed to be the worst night. You would think anybody, sane person, would think the worst night of your life. And like, I got through it.
Right.
Holy crap. It's like, and God, this is God talking through me. This isn't me. This is like, you look, idiot. Look what I did for you. Because I knew you were going to be at this point with this gun in your hand, putting it in your mouth, and this is going to get you out of it.
Yeah, this is your It's a Wonderful Life moment, right?
It is. And I remember thinking to myself and looking at it, and I remember thinking to myself, the war, because you always talk about Revelation. Anybody that is a Christian knows Revelations. And what is the tremendous battle? We have all these wars down here, but what is the war? The war for devil and between God and the devil. It's for your soul, right?
Yeah.
You commit suicide. Where's your soul going? Well, you're now a soldier for the devil. And that's like, got through all this, and I'm going to give up. Which I don't give up. First, and I'm going to lose the battle for my soul. And
yeah, I
did. I took a knee. I put the gun, took a knee, and prayed. I just said, God, I need you. I need help. That's all I said. It wasn't anything more an extravagant prayer. It's like, I need help. I got up. I grabbed my cell phone. I called my wife. They're at Disney World right now. I said, hey, I'm going to jump on a plane if that's okay. I'm going to get a ticket as soon as I can. Can I come out and spend vacation with you guys? Nice. And of course, there was no. I mean, it wasn't. It was. Yeah, come on. I found a ticket. I got a ticket. I was on a plane the next day from Eppley, boom, and no shit, 180 that day.
Did he die did he die that day, Kris?
The demon guy did. The guy that was gonna beat me. No, he's gone. No,
you exercise that, and that's what every I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Slight delay. I've worked with thousands of PTS vets and worked through trauma, and you see them kill that portion of themselves, and it's a lot of people are like, oh, you can't say that. No, you need to kill that demon. You need to exercise that demon out of your life in order to feel God's grace or feel how to allow someone else to help you get out of that hole. So every time I've asked that question, did that guy die that day? Everyone's like, yep, that part of me died. Good for you.
There still are demons that there are always going to be demons with guys like that are going to still try to come on. But now, and this is from experience, this goes back to even like we talked about in the world of Benghazi, and why did not freak out, and why was I calm? Because I know what that experience is now. I know what it feels like now. So now when I know when it's coming on, I know how to deal with it.
Yeah, it's like anxiety.
Yeah, it is. I got this feeling. I got it. Okay, what do we need to do? You know what? We need to go to let's take the kids to Dave and Buster's and let's go play some games. And I mean, just hey, how about we barbecue tonight and let's watch some. One of my favorite movies in the world is Penguins from it from Madagascar? The movie The Penguins. Yeah. Oh, I love them. That's the Penguins. Let's put on a silly movie and so now when it does come on, it was Jeremy's awesome. Love Jeremy. When it does come, I know what it is, but I still have those. And guys, we go back. You asked, do I still have those moments? Yeah, the week up to 9/11, I still have those depressed, and they're just those depressed moments. But I know what that feeling is.
Yeah, you know how to conquer it. You've been in the hole.
Exactly. And that's the same as getting through combat, guys. And that's why those salty guys never die, is because they got through those times where they probably should have died, but they didn't, and they made it through. And this is, hey man, I know what this gunfire means. I know that if we don't have our interpreter, we're going to not make it out of here. I know that if this rooftop, I'm up here, this area here, this is where they're going to sneak from, because that's where my dead space, and that goes back to tactics. That's just math. But it goes back to, I know, because guess what? A time before I missed that area, and a guy did sneak on me, and luckily he missed. And so it's just experience after experience after experience. And in this case here, the devil tried and he missed. So I know when he's creeping up on me again. But he's going to keep trying, and he'll keep trying forever. And that's life.
It's different when that demon's inside of you. And what I mean is that's dead, that version is that you're always going to be challenged, you're always going to be pushed, they're always going to come knocking at the door, but you're inoculated to their attacks once you've been at that point, that absolute low. And that's the old adage, hey, why did you jump down in the hole with me? Well, it's because I've been down here before, brother, and I know the way out. You know what I mean? Speaking of that,
I like that. Can I steal that, dude? I'm stealing that.
Wait. Oh, I'm going to give you that right now. Have you not heard this? Oh,
I
can you
don't
give
think
me
I have.
can you give me 2
Yeah,
minutes?
yeah.
All right. So you got this guy and he's military. He's just got back from overseas deployment and he's seen the shit and he's been, 3 or 4 times been deployed, and he comes back and he goes to his platoon sergeant and he's like, God, man, I'm having a hard time and I can't sleep and I've got the shakes and just I hear the voices of my friends and I don't know what to do. And he's like, well, here's a shovel. I want you to go out and go dig a hole. He's like, okay. And so he goes out and he digs the hole. And he digs and he digs and he digs and he digs and he digs. And the platoon sergeant keeps coming out and goes, how you doing on that hole? And he's like, I'm digging, but I'm real deep now and I can't get out. And he's like, I've given you all the tools you need to get out. Use that shovel, use your mind, use your creativity. You can do it, soldier, and walks off. Day goes by, and one of the medics walked by, and he goes, Doc, I need some help, man. I'm dying inside. I can't breathe. I feel claustrophobic. This hole, I can't fucking get out of this hole. What do I do? And he throws some pills down. He goes, swallow these, and you'll be better. So he takes the pills and it just gets worse. And it's just harder and harder and harder. He can't fucking escape his own thoughts. And then a captain walks by. He's like, sir, help me, please help me. What can I do? I can't get out of here. He's like, you need to talk to your platoon sergeant. You need to follow the chain of command. Walks away. And then a chaplain comes by and says, Chaplain, please, I need God's grace. I can't, I don't feel him in here. The walls are closing and I can't breathe. And he says, you need to drop to your knees and pray. And you know what you need to do. You need to ask for God's help. So he does. And then it starts raining. And the water comes up to his ankles and comes up to his knees and comes up to his hips and comes up to his breast line. And then finally it's at his nose. And he's just like, God, please save me. Help me. What the? And finally the water recedes for a time. The next morning, he's cold, he's shivering, he's covered in mud, and he's freezing, and he's wallowing in his own misery. And then one of his buddies walks by. He goes, dude, brother, help me, man. Help me, dude. I'm stuck. What do I do? And immediately, man, his battle buddy just jumps right into the hole with him. He's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Now we're both trapped. And he's like, it's okay, brother. I've been in this hole before, and I know the way out.
That's cool. I've never heard that before.
I stole that shit, but it's a good story.
That's cool. I like that. I'm gonna have to get that from him. I'm sure there's people like they're probably like, Tanto, have you not heard that? That's like everywhere. I probably live under a rock too.
No,
Kansas.
dude, but we know that story. We've all been there. We've all come back with our trials and tribulations. You said it, and that brotherhood, man. That's like, this is why I set these shows like this, because this is the next thing. The brotherhood, it gets overused in high risk units. You hear it all the time. You're under pressure, shared responsibility. But for those who've never depended on another man, how would you describe that bond to people? How do you maintain that connection now that the tempo is completely different? It's not even close to the same.
Yeah, some of the guys I've lost. I mean, not the guys from Benghazi, but some of the guys, because I had a lot of close friends in Iraq and Afghanistan as well, and then riding ships and doing all the other stuff I did. I was lucky enough to do. Some of those guys we've lost touch. I mean, you just do. Or like, then there's some that just come back in your life, like today. Mike Haynes, some of you guys may know Mike Haynes. He was he's from the community. He was a GRS team leader. We actually taught people at Blackwater. We ran what we call the TDC train-up course at Blackwater for many years. We were instructors together. One of the best instructors in the world. He still works and then we worked at the agency together. Sawbones was his call sign. But out of nowhere, he came and saw me today. I mean, that's cool. I haven't seen him in 6 or 7 years.
Right.
We saw each other yesterday. We're still extremely tight. But, on the end with the guys from Benghazi, we did have our ups and downs you do have those ups and downs when you get into that world, into the movie and the Hollywood and the notoriety world. And it does. It affects all of us. Money. money does, uh, the popularity does. So, it does, and we've had our fights like brothers do. But the one thing that brought us back together was I think it was last year, there was an attack on what one of us did. Some guys, and I'm not going to even mention their name. They have a podcast. It needs to go away.
I saw it. I saw it, and I fucking can't stand them. Can I go?
Yeah.
Fuckers.
They do nothing for the community but bring it down.
They're fucking. Anyway, they're horrible. So, Kris, I never say anything because I never got into the Gallagher thing. I never got into Bob Bissonnette or Matt Bissonnette. I never got, because even though you worked Intel, I'm not in the soft community, and I never was. So I've always sprayed. But these people who do their toxic, they're freaking evil. I'm sorry, I'm jumping on that. It pisses me off.
And it doesn't need it does nothing to help people. It doesn't. But regardless, again, if you can always find a silver lining. You can. And we actually, Oz and I weren't getting along very well. We hadn't talked in like 2 or 3 years. Tig and I were okay. Boone and I hadn't talked in a while. I think it was 2 or 3 years as well. But when they attacked Tig, nope. We all came back, and you attack one, you attack us all.
Yep.
And again, you can always find that silver lining. You can, because what that attack did, even though it brought up some bad memories, it did. I mean, obviously they're bringing back memories of into Tig, especially since he's the one that saw Roan and Bub get thrown off the roof. He's the one that responded first up to that roof. Obviously he gets the most pissed out of all of us. But what it did is all those little petty differences that we had, whether it was, hey, you talked on this show, or it was stupid shit. Hey, man, you got a little bit more money for this than I. That dumb crap went away. And we're like, what are we doing? And we're all good friends again. I would say
that's such good news. That is such good news.
And that's why even those negative things, and you're going to find a silver lining. And I forgot about this thing because that's how I was raised. You're going to find something good out of this bad thing.
That's right.
I don't know when it's going to happen, but something good will come out of it. Luckily, something good came out of it immediately, but that doesn't always happen either.
That's great, dude.
But but how do you stay with the brother? That's how you do it. But biggest thing too is you live your life, and you also, as you get older, and I've been this, is you got to also realize that guys get older. They have families now.
Right.
They have grandkids now. They can't be texting you every week. You can't. It's just those beer nights aren't always going to happen now.
Yeah.
And
they have a different AOR.
It is.
You know what I mean? Different AOR, different mission. Just completely different. I love that. I saw that. I've been watching from afar, and I'm not anything special. I'm not, but Barry will tell you that I fervently defend my friends. And
Barry's awesome.
Oh, dude, he's great for a Jew. So chill out, people. You guys don't understand the relationship.
Come on.
And my grandma.
We're all friends here, man.
My grandma Schwartz, 1938, fled Germany, so I get to say that. So thanks very much.
And Barry, believe me, Barry's, if he's on right now, he's laughing his ass off.
Oh, he is. I guarantee he is. I guarantee he's on. I guarantee he's laughing his ass off.
He's going like this to you right now, laughing.
Oh, I guarantee he is. I guarantee he is. But that's my thing, is that, like, I'm not anything special, but I've got an ability to gab, and I've got an ability to articulate points fairly clearly, and I don't care how big I get in this game, but what I am getting sick and tired is the soft bros stop and removing themselves from the quiet professional code. And it really fucking pisses me off. And I just didn't think the soft community would turn on itself like this. But hey, I was in the military business, 3,200 501c3s that literally cut each other's throats in order to make $1. And military people are very territorial, and they can be very jealous, man. And you know this. So here's the next question. You see how this is all connected? So you're good. It's awesome. You move from operations. You were writing, you're speaking, and doing business now. How did that Ranger credo how did that, where you started as that young man who like didn't know where they were going to be, how have you brought that into your business model? Someone who had money kind of thrown at you, but now you got to go earn it the right way so you can stay whole and holistic. How do you put it all together?
That's easy. The Ranger creed and being a Ranger helps in business so much because it's steeped in honor and integrity. It is, and also hard work, 100% and then some, 100% and then some. Every day, get up and go to work. And civilian work is not hard.
It's not so easy. It's so easy.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. No, if you're out there, you're out there climbing on the sides of buildings trying to resculpture.
Yeah. We know. We know. I know.
But sitting at a desk, because like I do now, I did get back and I do still work in the flood insurance business, but I manage. I know adjusting. I've worked big storms. And I did that learned how to do that during my break. And I was getting my master's degree. I worked at Mutual of Omaha during the day, went to school at night. I became insurance, and I've always maintained that. And and also it kept my head right. Whenever I come back from an operation or come back from a country, I'd run a flood claim, and it would help me acclimate back into society.
Yeah, because when you're overseas, home is not back in Colorado or back in home is overseas. It's deployment. And you have, it's so difficult, man. This is what Kris Kyle talked about, is that when he would go home, he felt like that was the battle. Like that was the place that he struggled the most.
And the only way to do is you have to acclimate yourself back in, and it would help me. And so now, and I also knew that eventually my body was going to break down enough and I didn't think this was going to happen with 13 hours, but I knew eventually my body was going to break down enough that I couldn't deploy anymore. I got to have something to fall back on, and it wasn't even monetarily because I was smart with my money from a private. I've been saving money for 40 years, living well below my means. So, but regardless, when this done and everything happened, and I started to move away from the spotlight, the podcasts, and being out there on the road and speaking and doing the interviews and things, I just called one of the old adjusting companies, an insurance adjusting company I worked for, and I said, "Hey, do you guys need any just claims examiners? I'd love to sit on my ass all day at my house and manage a team of adjusters and get them on point and then look at their files." And they're like, I've been with them for years. I've been working different hurricanes with them on for 20 years. They're like, and now I'm Tanto. Like, so yeah, we want you to come. So right. What I'm getting at is they'll get to me and they're like, "Can you work?" Because this last Hurricane Milton, that those dual Helene and Milton that hit Florida, devastation, all the way.
Horrible.
And it was, and so they're like, "Can you work this?" I said, "Yeah, easy." I said, "Do I need to go anywhere?" I said, "I'd rather just stay home." I said, "If I'm going to have to go on the road, then no,
right.
I'll do something else." I said, "No, we just want you to sit at home, but you have to be at your desk from 12 to 12-hour days." And I'm like, "You're asking me if that's hard?" I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "I got to be at home. I can get up off my ass and go work out for an hour downstairs, grab my coffee, come back on my desk, look at my stuff. I know what the hell I'm doing because I know this insurance. That's one thing I know. I know government insurance like the back of my hand. Like I got this. And the coup de grace is they're giving me all the new guys because of the leadership. So I get to train guys. So I'm getting to teach guys the business while doing that. And I remember just thinking, dude, I'm at my desk 15 hours. You guys, I just, you know what? You just give me all that just give me what you need. Just keep throw them at me.
That's the one review I got. Every review I've ever had, I always feel like I can put as much as I want on Matt's plate and he'll come back and ask for more. And that is the military mindset. And the thing is the only thing we need to figure out is that you can't blanket party a stupid son of a bitch that won't do their job. So you got to use those finer point skills.
Well, that's one thing I did have to learn. Me too.
Couple, I got fired too.
Well, luckily like I told you, work so hard that they cannot not pick you.
That's it. That's the secret.
I'm gonna keep studying and learning. So I'm always gonna know what's going on. Like I said, stay 3 steps ahead. War's a chess game, right? Well, so is business. Stay 3 steps ahead. I know this business better than you. So when you're telling me to do something, I know that's not how it's done. You know why? Because in this section here that you didn't read, this is what. So I know that, and so it was easy to just stay on. But the biggest thing, and I loved about it, is even in the adjusting community, the most flood adjusters, they're country boys and contractors.
Yep. Like real
They
contractors,
need,
like hammered.
yeah, real contractors. So I can still talk to them and say, hey, hey, motherfucker, pull your head out your ass.
Right.
Now,
Right. Because they're listen, these are blue collar workers. They're not,
guys.
upper class corporate guys we're going to call HR. Once again, we've done it. People are going to think that we set this up. Kris and I did not plan any of this. This is the way conversation goes. When you don't interview somebody, you just have a really good conversation with a goal in mind. So here it is for young service members, because now you're going through the maturation process. So now it's your responsibility as a man of God to bring the word of God to people, but you also have to bring the humility, you have to bring the acceptance, you have to bring the affability, the penitence that you have. So how do you internalize this for the young people? How do you help them and teach them about preparation? How do you give them initiative when guidance is thin and non-existent? Owning their lane without waiting for clarity. What lessons were written in blood that you want to hear, that you want to give them directly right now and tell young people who are about to go through the same shit you did, and say, here's what you must take with you so you can come out of this hole on the other side?
First of all, and I still, it's kind of odd that you asked me, because I just talked to a young guy who's a soldier that wants to go to the Rangers, and I've talked to another who wants to join the Rangers. First of all, I tell him physically, dude, get physically fit. You got to. And that is your litmus test there, battalion. You got to run. You got to be able to run. You got to move. And if you have good fitness going in, I'm telling you right now, even when you go through infantry basic training, that's going to take the spotlight off of you, or it's going to put it on you in a positive way. They're going to see that. If you can keep up with that drill sergeant on those flutter kicks for an hour, that gets noticed in a good way. You may not know it's getting noticed in a good way, but it does. So physical.
You might get more of the same, but it's still.
but believe me, they're seeing it. I promise you. That is the biggest thing. Physical fitness. You got to be strong, and not just the cake boy. I can do 3 reps with 500 pounds on my back. No, you got to be able to go and endurance and keep going. You got to be able to do 100 reps with 100 pounds on your back, not 3 reps with 500 pounds on your back. You got to have that endurance. Now, when we get older, that can change, but for that, you got to. So you're there, and then also get used to failing. Not being a failure, that's different. Get used to failing. You're going to fall down. They're going to make you fall down. They're going to want to see how you react when you don't make that hit time that you weren't going to make anyway. That was the whole point, but they're not going to tell you.
Right.
Deal with adversity. That's adversity. Deal with it. You got to know how to deal with it. And that's it. Just continue to drive on and ask for more responsibility. Even if you may not know what to do, say, can I do that for you, Sergeant? There was one, I had a guy, they're prepping to go to Korea. He's an E4. He's like, what can I do? I said, you go ask to be on that Advon team, or you go ask to help out with the armor to see what he needs to pack up. I know it seems mundane, but you ask for those responsibilities from your team leader and your sergeant. Now, I said, you may get a sergeant that may just tell you to F off. Or he may say, this guy's a kiss ass. That's a bad leader. I said, that's just you just got a bad guy. It happens, But the majority.
But you learned something from him too.
Yes, you learned that that's not how you lead.
That's not how you lead. It's a wonderful lesson.
It is, but you ask for that responsibility, and especially if you're scared. If you're scared, you still volunteer, and then you figure it out. Just like your whole analogy, you figure it out. That's okay. Jump in the hole, but you got to have a plan to figure out how to get out of that hole. But always volunteer. Don't sit in the back. You can be the greatest soldier in the world that nobody ever knows about. You went through as the gray man. This is not the time to be the gray man. Gray man comes later. Right now, you do not want to be the gray man. You want to stand out. He's I think he's at 1st Infantry Division. Division's huge.
Yeah,
there's a lot of guys there.
A lot of rate. Yep.
And so my thing with all the youngsters is don't be afraid to make a mistake. Always volunteer. Deal with adversity. You're gonna fall down. You're gonna fail, and you're not a failure. You just failed, but you're a failure if you don't pick yourself up and try again. That's when you become a failure. When you stop and you say, "Dang it, that's not my fault. It's his fault that I couldn't do it." Bullshit. You could have done it again. Pick your ass
That's
up.
right.
Did you work hard enough? Work hard. And then also you got to have faith in your life. You got to have God. And I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, God will come and go though as you go, just like it did with me. God's there, but I should say my faith, not my faith in Him, my ability to follow His word waned from time to time, and it all does. I sinned. Let's put it that way. I sin. I sin a lot.
We all do.
We all do. God loves a sinner. But never lose your faith. But know that you're not going to be perfect. I think a lot of guys that I saw downrange left faith when they thought that just having faith was going to stop the bad things from happening.
Right.
And that's not how it works. That's not how it works.
No,
and
he's already paid for our sins, right? So
yes,
you just need to acknowledge that. He's already the filter that God looks through Jesus and His perfection at us. So He's already there for us. He's already died for our sins. Now we just need to acknowledge and accept that and know that we are not perfect. But
that doesn't mean going out and sinning every time. You still got to try. You got to still try.
Right? Unless you're me, but everybody else has to
you
follow.
fall off the wagon more than most, but you still get back on it. I mean, that's just how it goes.
I'm with you.
That's with the youngsters. I think the biggest thing with the youngsters is it's now become the being okay to fail has just been renamed to being a victim, and you're not a victim. None of us are victims. You're a victim if you lay there and you don't try again or you don't pick yourself up. I had a lot of people don't know this, but I did this one when President Trump was running his first term.
Yeah.
I had an agent or a publicist. I didn't know I was going to be on a show. It was a big show. It was Sean Hannity, and he was doing a town hall in Milwaukee.
Wow.
And that was when I used to do that's when I used to be on some of the bigger the news programs. And she goes, "You're going to go on this town hall, and they want people that have been in terrorist attacks. And President Trump's going to come on and ask a few questions. You're going to be the military guy that's on." I was like, "Oh, cool. Okay, I'll get out there." And I was friends with Sheriff Clark at the time too, David Clark.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know Sheriff Clark.
Yeah,
He's amazing.
I thought he was a good guy. I liked him a lot. I still like him. But I remember as soon as I started to walk on set, she said, "You guys are the victims of terrorist attacks." And this was right before, and then we were, because there were all these victims of people that had been attacked from terrorists over the years.
Yeah, I understand.
I was livid. I turned around to her. We're about ready to go on the stage with Sean Hannity. I said, "I am not a fucking victim." I said, "Victims don't run towards gunfire." I did. I said, "I will go do this." And Sean Hannity, I mean, he used to be a friend. He would still be a friend. We don't talk to each other. But Sean was a good guy. Always treated me well. I didn't have an issue. But I remember walking up on stage. I did my thing. I walked back out. I looked at her. I was so pissed. I walked, and was when I started to take notice of, okay, are you really being, are people really wanting to hear, are people starting to use you and put you in a light to help further their message or their ideologies or to make money? And really that turned my head to the start of where I just like, I need to stop doing it. I don't need to do this anymore. But that also drove me toward committing suicide, man. It was a good time, because it was a time where I was like, wait a second. It made me take a step back and look. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What do I look like in people's eyes? Are people thinking that we're victims? Because we're not. And Oz would tell you the same thing. Tig would tell you the same thing. Boone would tell you the same thing. And I even was so angry. I did the only thing I could do and I had control of at that time is I did. I went on to Twitter and I went, I am not and I tagged Hannity and like, this was bullshit. I am not a victim. And that didn't make me feel any better, because I've been stooped down to now I'm a social media. I'm a social media warrior. And I'm like, Jesus, where's my life turned into? This is this is terrible. I hate this. What's going on?
But you're carrying a torch here, man. So it's like, I think this is probably the most important question I can ask you now is something I kind of was waiting for a good time for. So like when history looks back on Benghazi and we reflect on it, as we have been, not enough, in my opinion, not nearly enough. And it's stripped of all the politics and all the noise. And what do you want remembered about the men and the mission? What's the truth you want left on record? Not your truth or her truth or his truth. Yeah. Fuck that. There's only truth. What do you want to be known about duty and sacrifice and standing your post when it mattered the absolute most? What do you want known? Because all they're doing is trying to push a narrative right now, and it's not. I know it's not what you want conveyed. So what do you want conveyed?
Heroism and love. Heroism and love, and that's the John 15:13. And I'll paraphrase. I don't always say it right, but this is how I always say it. You know, love is no greater than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Sacrifice. I want people to always remember that. I want people to remember Bub and Tyrone and Kris and Sean. They can forget me. They can forget Oz. They can forget Boone. They can forget Tig. I want them to remember them, especially Bub and Tyrone. First of all, Bub, I'll say, because he was the only one that came up on that roof when they got there. He was the only one out of everybody that came on, the 3 other GRS guys, the 2 Delta Force guys. He's the only one that said, I'm getting up on that roof and I'm going to help. And also, for those of you that don't know, he actually paid for that oil executive's jet out of his own pocket. A lot of people don't know that.
No way.
His own money. Yep. He was reimbursed down the line. It was many years after. His best friend, Sean Lake, who runs Bub's Naturals, Sean and
no
Glenn's
way.
family actually approached Brennan, was the director at the time, and they did something, browbeated him till we finally got reimbursed.
He didn't use black market reacquisition money from the CIA.
No, he did. He used it. But I mean, I didn't even know that for many years. I didn't
awesome.
know that Sean told me. But that's like
what a hero. What a hero, you know?
But only one to get up on that rooftop, knowing that we were still under attack and it was going to come again. And then Tyrone was he was Superman. I want people to remember that. I want them to remember. I just want to remember Benghazi because of that. I don't care about the politics. Obama Hill, I don't care. They're going to get judgment regardless, guys. Right. I know you want to see it, but they're going to get it. I'm not worried about it. The terrorists that they apprehend, that's great. I love it. But not because they're getting the terrorists. Not the Bond. I do like Bondi. I do like Patel. I do. I like Cactus. I like him a lot, actually. I think he's a badass dude. Yeah. I like the way he fights back at times. Now, granted, I don't get into politics. I don't see everything that's going on, and I'm not in the news cycles. But what I'm getting at is, it's not that they caught the terrorist, and he was a bad guy. He was there. He was he was about as mastermind as Katala, which means he wasn't. Zawahiri was the mastermind, and he died a long time ago. That's Bin Laden's second. But Sarah could tell you better about that anyway, if you ever want to really ask. What I'm getting at is that people haven't forgotten.
Right. That's
what's important, is that it didn't matter. They caught him. I'm glad they caught him. But you know what? DOJ and Patel, they haven't forgotten. The HRT guys that went and they haven't forgotten. That's what's important. And to me, that is always going to be what sticks with me. If I don't care about the politics, but if you keep playing the movie on Pluto, if you keep playing the movie on Tubi, if you keep streaming it on Amazon, that's awesome. You can make $1 million. I don't care. But what I love is that you have not forgotten. And I hope I'm sitting here at 100 years old and it pops up on the screen on Amazon. And Amazon and Bezos can be running the world. And I'll be like, people still haven't forgotten. And that's and I hope Bezos isn't running the world. Believe me, I don't want that to happen, guys. Don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no shit about that. So we have enough. We have enough of those people playing behind the scenes. Yeah. I have one more question for you tonight, and this one I'm actually going to read because I haven't done it, and I owe you a red question because this is my own personal one, so I wanted to do it justice. take 30 seconds. A lot of veterans reach points where they separate the country from the government. The country is the Constitution, the people, the flag, the men you stood beside. The government is the bureaucracy, the politics that often feel disconnected from the ground truth. For me, the separation started young with questions around JFK. Later, it deepened watching civilians' targets getting hit that I was calling in for, watching restrictive rules for engagement tie my hands, seeing decisions made far from the fight carry real consequence. Over time, you stop expecting the clean accountability from Washington that you've been told would take place. Have you reached that point, like specifically with Benghazi? Are you done expecting someone like Hillary Clinton to ever truly be held accountable?
Yeah.
Done. One more. Done. Wait. Can I ask one? Just let me finish this one last thing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah,
done waiting for the hearings or investigations to produce something that feels like justice. If you're past that expectation, what's replaced it? Most people would be cynicism and derision. If you are past it, what's it replaced? And if you're not past it, where are you at? It's a long one, but I hope that
no. That's a great question. No, it is. Am I past? I would love to see. And Obama is the one that Hillary is the one that's responsible for the beginning, for prior to not giving them enough. And it's not just Hillary; it's Patrick Kennedy, it's Charlene Lamb. So let's just get this cleared right now. She is responsible for not having the assets there for them to protect themselves, not having the security team, that's State Department. Who's responsible for the people not coming? That's the commander in chief. That's Obama. He got off scot-free. But Hillary at least was humbled and didn't get the presidency, and I think a lot of it had to do with Benghazi. Which thank you, Mr. President Trump. I know, and we may not late, but I know that had a lot to do with it initially. But who got off scot-free was Obama. Because he's the commander in chief. He's the one that's got to send troops in. He's the one that's got to stay on top of it. He did not. And that's because he didn't want to. We were arming terrorists in Libya. So, and that was his baby. That was his foreign policy. So, and then we killed him. And then we kill. Yeah, we'd arm them, then we kill them, or we'd arm them to go overthrow Assad and let Assad and them fight it out. So that's what we were doing, and giving arms to Hamas and. He loved the Muslim Brotherhood. That's a whole nother show, guys. It's a whole nother show. But I've gotten past it because I just know they're what we talked about before. They're going to be judged. I'm not worried about it. They're going to stand in front of God and be judged, and they're going to have to atone for those lives that were lost. And to me, it's manslaughter. It may not be murder, but it's at the very least manslaughter because they could have done something, and we could have. Maybe Kris and Sean, maybe not. That's on us. And that's what always will bother me. Why didn't we leave sooner? Gosh, I wish we'd have left sooner. But Roan and Bub, oh, definitely. All we needed was a flyover. We didn't even need guns. We just needed an F-15 just doing loops.
You had a fucking base that wasn't that far away. You didn't have to come out of Ramstein. We all know about we know about CENTCOM. We know they had ISR there within range. Why? Just Kris, why?
Because we were we were arming terrorists. That's why. That was the foreign policy. And if that would have come out at that time, he was neck and neck with Romney at the time. And remember, he had just said Al Qaeda was on the run too.
Yes.
And they obviously weren't. They were not. So
called them the sophomore, the freshman team, right? The varsity.
No, that's Zawahiri, buddy. It's not your freshman. It's not your freshman terrorist.
That is a seasoned fucking combat Afghani style type of leader for sure.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I've come to it because after Trey Gowdy, I think if you want to have a time point. Because they did find out stuff that they could have brought charges on, and they didn't. And I did confront Trey with that. I said, "Why did you?" I did first. I talked to him. I said, "Why did you not? You had it. You've got it. It's right here." He goes, "It's not." And he said it. He says, "I'm the attorney. It's not my job to go out and apprehend. I'm bringing the charges." And he did. I read the report. It's there. It was damning, very damning, but it didn't happen. And when that didn't happen. And that was around that 2017, 2018 timeframe when I was going down that slope. I just, after I tried to kill myself, I let it go. That's when you know what? God's got it. God has got this. And I let it go. And I don't expect to see it. No, I never do. it's one of those things where be pleasantly surprised when it happens, but never be disappointed. So I never will be disappointed ever on it, because they're going to be judged regardless. And if it does happen eventually, woohoo! Yeah, this is my celebration right here. Woohoo! It happened. If it doesn't, woohoo! I'm okay. I'm gonna live. I'm living a wonderful, wonderful life, and things have turned out very well for me and my family. And man, I still have so many wonderful experiences from my time deploying, and then just that night that I can still look back and you and I can talk about, and I can smile like, holy shit. This was awesome. Watching the fires burn when me and Boone cleared that building before we were on the consulate. We had to clear that damn 4 stories, and I'm clearing that 46 and M4. And I'm guys, if you've never cleared rooms or went upstairs with loaded down to bear and having a machine gun, I was smoked. And I remember getting on that balcony, and the movie is so spot on. Getting on that balcony, going to put guns down. And the only thing we couldn't do, we couldn't simulate the massive amount of smoke that was everywhere. And it was just blocking everything. You couldn't see that diesel smoke.
That was just tire fires and cars and diesel.
The cars, it was tires and cars. It was cars and the buildings. The buildings were on fire.
Yeah.
And, that's asbestos. You're burning everything. But I remember still looking down at it and go, holy crap, that is beautiful. And I always admired that, whether I was in Iraq or whether I was in Afghanistan. The carnage after and during and after is a beauty. It's a savage beauty, but it's still freaking beautiful, man. It is so, the colors pop because your senses are so attuned, and I'm able to put the I'm able to kind of have the blinders off, but not to a point where I'm like Henry Amal, where I'm overloaded. It's I'm aware. So everything's popping, but I'm also aware, and I know what the hell's going on around me, and I can, holy shit. And then after all that, as I'm following the smoke up with my night vision, looking up and going, the star, then the stars just go, and it's just,
Jeremy says you need to stop being so excited because you're going to hurt your shoulder, and you guys have an exercise next month.
I know, man. I've had rotator cuff surgery about 3 months ago, and I told
be careful. Go slow. It's between my back and everything else that's broken. Oh, dude, yeah. Like there's so much shit in me that's broken. It's crazy. The rehab and it wasn't the VA, it was me. I mean, I got to 264 pounds and I just said, fuck it. I was like, that's it. Throw it all down the trash. And that's another conversation, but this is about you. Listen, you've sat with Sean Ryan. You've sat with JRE, right? You've done Joe Rogan's Experience.
No, I haven't. I've never have. He's never asked any of us on. I don't know why. I don't. Never.
It's okay.
But Sean, yes. Sean's actually a friend. Sean was, for those who don't know, Sean was GRS. He was a friend way before Joe. He's a great guy. Sean has always been.
I love Sean. I love Sean. Like I absolutely just adore him. And then you sat with Jocko, yeah?
No, never Jocko.
Really?
Never neither.
Holy
I
shit.
mean, but I said, when this was back when I was doing all the news, there wasn't podcasts. It was, you're going to Bill O'Reilly's show, which that was huge. You're going Hannity's show, and then you're going to do Sirius. You're doing Hannity, you're doing Will Cow, you're doing and then what were some of the other big ones? And then the local station, like Lars Larson was a huge one, and there was one in New York. It was a huge one. And,
you're doing iHeart, you're doing Cumulus, you're doing News Talk. Exactly. I mean, these are massive. No, I get it. I'm not I'm not measuring dicks like you. I just figured Jocko would bring you on because that's just Jocko. Doesn't matter. The point is the fact that you've sat with Sean Ryan. He's one of the biggest podcasts in the country, and you've come on here. It's just a testament to who you are, dude. I really appreciate you. Like, this has been this is just, like I said, it's something that I've wanted to do. I've always, since I saw the movie, I always wanted to talk to you. And I've just followed you for such a long time. So when Barry and we're doing the headshots and he's like, "Oh, I know Tanto." I'm like, why didn't you just tell me you know Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull and get it over with? You know what I
mean? Nice, man. Guys, so y'all know Jethro Tull, youngsters. That's the band. That's not a guy in the band. I just want to make sure the youngsters know that. Good. Thank you for mentioning the same. Appreciate it.
Yeah, there's a
One of the
I don't
greatest
know,
bands
I don't
ever,
know.
bud.
I don't know if you can see it, but I'll turn this upside down. There's the cover of Broadsword and the Beast on that arm.
That's awesome. Love
So
Jethro Tull. Dude.
yeah, I've seen Toll 17 times. I'm a huge Toll fan. I grew up Toll. Anyway, I want to tell you, man, it means the world to me for you to be here, and it's a great conversation, and you allowed me to kind of walk us through it, and I just think your journey has been awesome. So you get the final time. You take as long as you want. It's all yours, Bubba. Go ahead.
Buddy, I got nothing. I just enjoy being with you and talking with you all, and never. I just said podcast pod. This is just as fun as Sean's show. I love Sean. I love him to death, but man, I think you do just a damn good job. Just the same, because you sit and you listen and you throw your 2 cents in the end. But that's the one thing I love about podcast interviews more than anything now, is that it's not a quick hit. And good podcast interviewers, but they let somebody like myself have diarrhea of the mouth and just let me go. And that's me. So thanks for that. And just thank you for bringing me, let me be part of your family, and before we started, bringing your son. And well, Olivia's part of the show, but anyway, letting her and saying hi, but being able to see your son, to me, that's more than anything.
She thinks you're good looking, so that's why she wanted to say hi. She thinks you're good looking.
I don't know about that. She must have some poor. Well, I shouldn't say that, because if I say she has poor taste, then
yeah, you probably don't. I was like, I'll throw him in the middle, just whatever it takes. You know what I mean? I mean, shit, to keep me happy, keep her happy. No, man, listen. My son adores you. He what's amazing is that very few people get to talk to their heroes. And my son,
hero, but I just did my
you know
job.
what? I don't accept that shit anymore. I used to be that guy. You say, you know what? Every hero that I know is dead. But Kris, you're a fucking hero, dude, and you just need to understand that. No, I don't care. I don't care. I'm bigger than you. Okay.
That ain't saying much, but I'm a little guy.
I know you are. You got the speeds and the speed, but whatever. Okay. If I get a hold of you, you're done, Kris. No, I'm kidding.
That's true. That's true.
You need to understand though, brother. It's there's nothing wrong with that, because knights never wanted to be knighted. They never wanted to be coronated. They never wanted to have the sword tap their shoulders. They never wanted to have the visors, and that's what made them worthy of the title of Sir and a knight. And we don't do that anymore. Those ceremonial tribulations don't take place. So you get to be called a hero, dude. And I'm calling you that, and that's good enough for me. I love you, and I appreciate you, and I thank you for being on the Donut Friendly Show.
Thanks, buddy. Hey, God bless y'all, bud.
You call me. You need anything at all. I really had a great time. Thanks, Bubba.
Thanks, Bo.
All right, Kris. Bye-bye. What a freaking amazing interview. God, I love that guy. He's such a, it's not just Ethan, you know. I haven't had a chance to meet people who I truly look up to, and I don't look up to him for his prowess. I don't look up to him for him putting rounds down range. I know plenty of people who have gotten into conflicts and have been in combat. A good friend of mine who sat here had both of his legs amputated, double amputee. My good friend in MARSOC, Force Recon, Marine, Sniper, and Diver, lost one of his legs in combat. I've chewed dirt and drank water with people who have done heroic things, but that doesn't make them a hero. That guy saw the brink. He saw the end. He literally was taken to an edge that most men don't recover from. And he found a way to come back and honestly just leave the world in a better place than how he found it. To have that energy, to have that ability to be known around the world, and to still shake your fans' hands and to sign an autograph and not to make it about money or fame, to me, that's what makes him a hero. Like, he has every reason to be an asshole, and he's not. He's just a caring and loving human being. And the side I got to see of that guy, like, I'd walk through a wall for him. If he came to me and said, Matt, I need your last dime, he gets it. Matt, we got to go and do something. You can never ask me what it's about, but we're going to go hurt some people. And the answer is, from the movie The Town, what car are we taking? You know what I mean? He's that type of guy. So I'm so honored to have talked to him, and I'm so appreciative that you guys had a chance to experience it. Barry, thank you. Shelly, thank you so much. I want to thank Jeremy also for getting Kris on. He's a good dude. I can't wait to get out to Kentucky. I think it's Kentucky, and go through some of his training classes. Go over to his website. We put that up there. Thank you for helping us hit goal on a show that's really tough to hit goal because we don't talk about the donations. But that man's a hero, and he most assuredly is. That's pretty much it. I know all of you asked a lot of questions, but I think we covered everything. Like, I didn't answer them because I knew I was going to get to them. I spent a lot of time on the interview prep on this, and I made sure that I thought I snapped her. Kimberly, thank you for the second donation. I'm sorry I missed. I was so focused. I didn't want to call out thank yous, but everyone who donated, thank you. You guys will notice at the end of our closing video tonight, I want you guys to understand something. Some people, well, not some people, we just had a complaint where someone said, hey, you got my name wrong. No, we didn't. This person was another one with your first name and your last initial. You were on there. You just needed to look up like 7 spaces, because I went and fixed it today and your name was still on there. If your name is not spelled right, that's because Olivia and I have to go handwrite these fucking things, or you spelled it wrong when you were going through PayPal. So we try to check and get it right, but literally we have hundreds, like there's 500 names on there now, but you'll see the scroll. We've committed that every month we are going to update everybody's name who donates, and we updated the closing credits. So you'll go and look. If your name isn't on there, just Matt at the Dumb Show or Olivia at thedumbshow.com. We got your back. We'll take care of it. It'll fix it. It'll take 2 seconds. Don't feel all weird. Just be like, Matt, my name's wrong. Or there's supposed to be a hyphen there, or it's not listed and I've given money. We do our best. And I know a lot of shows that don't even do that. So we're just trying to say thank you the best way we know how. So don't ever feel like we don't appreciate you. I hope you guys had a good time. I love interviews, and I love talking to people. So if you have somebody who you know who you think would be great on this show, we have a senator coming. He's a candidate for senator of the state of Virginia. He's coming to our house. People are reaching out. Like, Olivia is booking shows like crazy. Like, it's insane how many people are starting to reach out to us. We have a senator from Virginia who is like, I'm coming to your home. Is that okay? Can we do it right before the State of the Union? And the answer is, yeah, of course. That's why we built this studio. So if you know people who you've made connections and you can get them on, let's do that. Let's make it happen. Go pick up 13 Hours. It's a wonderful movie. You can go pick it up on iTunes. You can go buy the book over on Tanto's. Then you can go back and pick up Barry's book, Rock and Soul, as well. But appreciate it, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. It was a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be, if I can get over this sickness, because, dude, you guys see I'm leaking here. Like, I'm such a freaking delicate flower. I didn't want to sneeze and blow my nose and honk my freaking nose everywhere, So I kind of just dabbed, powdered my nose. So, but I'm leaking here. I feel like shit. I've got a temperature, I've got a head cold, and I feel like ass. But I should be on tomorrow with Leroy and we'll see you then. So God bless. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking care of us. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.